Boys and girls, man and woman, let me explain some of the factions in this game. They might not be what you think, and I bet you will see them differently after watching this video. So if you enjoy this one, then leave a like and subscribe for more. Only 35% of those who's watching my content is currently subscribed, which is nothing weird, but help a fella pilot out. In this game we got factions. We got empires, governments, institutions, independent organizations, and criminal organizations too. We got precursors and ancient civilizations. I will just call them factions for the purpose of this video, and there is a ton of them, but I have collected the most interesting ones. Let's start with the Mar. Biggest empire is run by the smallest brain, and they all believe in ghosts. Think of them as ants, where the emperor tells everyone what to do, what to wear, what to eat, and who to fuck. And not only does this emperor treat everyone as slaves, the slaves here also have slaves, and those slaves have slaves, and those slaves have slaves. Does not sound like a pyramid scheme at all, but imagine if humans evolve and venture into space, while still learned nothing about equal rights. There is your Amar. Amar lives matter. A bunch of religious bullies who makes others do their dirty work, elites who don't pay enough and make sure you spend your hard-earned isk, keep you poor. Oh, just like real life. Galente. Democratic liberals run by dictators who earlier in time kicked Caldari out of Galente. Now that's something that seems was a big challenge, but it was actually quite easy, since the Caldari state can't even stay friends with themselves. But still, without Caldari, Galente remains the biggest race in New Eden, and still rocking that small trade station. I mean, they did lose Yida, so I guess that's why they're still picking on Caldari and any other smaller factions. So yeah, everyone else. It seems that this is what they like, since all they do is for pleasures and entertainment. They probably invented drones that does more than fight. Caldari. Imagine several corporations working together but still are different enough not to merge together. This is the reason why we get update to have more corps in our alliances. The Caldari are like the biggest bullies in school that are too afraid to fight each other, so they stay together and hate themselves for it. The fights among themselves are sometimes even bigger than fights with people outside Caldari. So see Caldari as the biggest jail in New Eden, and lucky that we got Concord close by. Minmatar. You know where this is going. The former slave race that broke off and now run the republic with duct tape and superglue. They are the least concentrated race and actually lives almost all over New Eden. I'm not saying it's because their shit breaks down half the way to their destination, so they kinda have to stick around long enough to create colonies while fixing their ships, or that they still haven't got over the feeling of freedom and just go where they feel without settling down and figuring out their own type of ships. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to do that instead of using wrecks they find and try to make those fit. Despite this, they have managed to make a big impact in New Eden. In Rust they trust, and hope is a must. SOE. The Future Help Corporation that despite all failures keep trying on preventing wars. They are believers and obviously believe that the war will end. In a game that the war is the main thing, I might add. And they do believe in heaven, that it's located behind the Eve Gate. Yeah, does not sound suspicious at all. So basically they do believe in the past, since that's where we came from. Wait a minute, if we came from there and that's heaven, does that mean that we're living a second life right now? Anyway, after a big fight you can be sure that SOE will arrive with penicillin, band-aid and a glass of juice to all who survived. Or, if you think you're a great miner, look again. These workaholics do one thing, and one thing only: watching rocks and drinking quaif. Apparently some dude got rich from a giant deposit of Noxium and didn't want to share it with Galente. So Galente got pissed, so they had to leave and make their own group called Ore. They live in Outer Ring, and not a single pirate faction has been able to beat their overclocked coveters with their implant boosted drones. I bet they got great implants, or they are all bots and dock as soon as someone enters the system. Guristas. What do you get if you have two emo kids that don't understand the world, but still wanna run it? I give you 5 seconds to guess. Guristas. Two Caldari officers didn't like how Caldari ran their business and wanted more. With greed and only greed, they live close to Caldari but barely just far away, and that they're on their own. Sure, it's a bit scary to move so far away from their mommy. They love to pillage and run raids as often as they can in the space that no one hangs in. But don't be afraid if you accidentally end up in Vale. They are known to be merciful, but it is very hard to please teenagers. Just give them what they want. Blood Raiders. This race would make Dracula come in his pants. If Amar is religious, these guys are a cult. And not the good cult, if there is such a thing. They drain their victims from their blood and use it for their rituals. How that's done, no one knows. I just made that up. Of course someone knows, they just never told me. Their ships are specialized in using newts and asses, so if you ever wanted to go down with HIV, this is probably the place. Angel Cartel. The biggest criminal faction we have today. I'm not talking money in the bank or bodies, but people. They usually focus different groups on different tasks, so you know that they're good at one thing, but are probably shit at something else. They are very special. The Angels do not have any hate towards anyone and do recruit anyone, and I mean anyone, from anywhere, just to join their forces. No introduction needed. No bras needs to be filled. And some people even believe that they got a few Joves joined up. And the Angels do seem to have some Jove knowledge that others don't. I mean, their ships actually bear some resemblance. Serpentis. These are the drug-infested rich bastards that try to lure you and your friends to taking that shit. And slowly, but surely, sell everything you own for some ISK to keep that habit up. They got rich by implants and boosters early on, and today they have a deal with Angel Cartel for spreading their illegal substances. They definitely never saw Scarface though. Do not get high on your own supply is something they don't give a shit about. These guys are high as a kite, all day, all night. Sancha Nation. There once was a Caldarian. Then he wanted his own utopian world. Yeah, that's not a bad idea if I ever heard any. Anyway, he named it Sancha, or it got called Sancha. With his charm he attracted thousands of people, and then of course started experimenting on them. Mixed capsule technology with human minds. You know, fun stuff. When then his zombie-like creatures apparently had no emotions and was pretty unreliable, the Sanchez was booted from Empire. Cause in the future we have obviously seen enough zombie movies to know that that shit is got to go. Today Sanchez are a mixed faction with mindless idiots and those who can think, but won't. The Yanjang. Said to be the masters of advanced gravitonic technology and force field theories, and I guess that's why the information can't escape the event horizon and reach us. We know next to nothing about this faction. For now. The Interbus. If you thought you needed Omega in this game, no. As a neutral passenger transportation company focused on both building vessels and transporting people in New Eden, they also deliver goods, even to the remotest and most hostile parts of space. So when your Omega expires, you can just wait at the station and let them pick you up. In theory at least. And you also have to be an engineer, or a military, or a cow, or a Fido, or water to be able to be transported. But thanks to Interbus we have haulers in the game, so that's something. The Mordus Legion. The Galantian Caldari War did not only bring death, but also birth to this mercenary fighting group who's heavily paid by Outer Ring excavations as protectors. The Intaki military group is known for their quick attacks but also for their quick losses due to the worst defense in New Eden. They are independent, but they do some shady deals with Caldari Navy at times. The Jove. The brightest bunch in New Eden. This highly advanced group of people keep themselves isolated somewhere far away. This is not due to lack of love for the Concord aligned empires, but because they're sick. There was once a big flourishing empire. But since they don't think washing their hands is important, Jove smallpox spread freely, and most of them died. Today they struggle to survive, and even though they are eons ahead in technology compared to everyone else, they still don't wash their hands. Sleepers. Here we got a bunch of virtual reality nerds who together with neurotechnology and cryotechnology are living within the wormholes. You could say that all they do is play games without moving a muscle and sleeping, with saggy pants and long hair. We do assume that they originated from Jove, but who really needs to be friends with hardcore gamers? Just like the Matrix, their sleepers are hidden somewhere in the dark cold space, and all that we really face is their drone-controlled ships. Concord. Concord is an independent organization of Judge Dredd's. They are the powerhouse of high security empire and are as unforgiving and understanding as your latest ex. With the best chips and tactical modules and lightning warp speed, it's easy to act cool. But I guess without the Concord, we would have a much harder life in New Eden, and we would definitely lose some of our casual players. And that was some of the factions in New Eden. So if you like this and you want more explanations within this game, then let me know with a like and a comment. And do not forget to subscribe to help me reach my ever-changing goals on YouTube. Play safe, and I see you again.